Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
I've got a funny BWC story that I'll wait till we're not rolling for.
Bruh.
All right. You ready?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm your host, Travis Harless. Today we have, back by popular demand, our good friend, Sergeant Alex. Alex has been he was in the Army for 6 years, and he's been a police officer in California for 20 years now. Alex, thanks for coming back out and talking to us.
Oh, of course. It was fun last time.
Yeah. Anyway, so we wanted to tell some more of your good cop stories from 20 years of experience. Anyways, talk to us today about the throwing some money out of a moving vehicle.
So we had this, I was working on patrol with a partner, Shane.
Okay.
He was driving. He loved to drive. This is the type of guy when he's driving, he has to look at you, dead in your eyes, dead in your soul.
While he's driving?
While he's driving.
With the phone book?
Oh, at least one. So on this instance, we were trying to locate and apprehend this serial armed robber. He would go into cell phone stores and just rob them at gunpoint and he was getting quite a bit of money back in the day then. So on this day, the county put out another 211, a robbery, gunpoint, same guy, same vehicle, same everything. It just happened to, when this guy was coming down the road, he turned onto the highway, and Shane and I had been right there. So we're kind of Johnny on the spot. Goes into full pursuit right on the highway. We're leaving town, probably going 120-ish. As we're driving up to the outskirts of town, going into the mountains, this guy starts throwing out money out his window. Money slapping in the window. You can see 20s and 5s and just 50s. There's a lot of money. There's money everywhere. People are stopping. So we had one patrol guy.
He's making it rain on the highway?
Oh, he made it rain for sure. For me, it was like a movie, because it's like you see that in the movies, and just money's hitting it and it sticks a little bit and then it flies off. And so that was for him and I to
turn around for that C-note.
But too bad we were number 2 in the pursuit. We couldn't turn around and go and collect it. But we continued. We get to the next town. The suspect gets off, does a U-turn, comes back on the highway, going back into town. So at this time, we had a senior officer. Let's call him Teal. Okay, we'll call him Teal. So Teal puts out spike strips, puts it out, boom, hits the number 1 black and white patrol car. So that car is out of the way. Yeah. Well, keep in mind, he did this before on the way up there. So he hit a patrol car, spiked a patrol car on the way up there. And then... But
not the suspect.
Not the suspect.
Okay.
And then when he turned around and went the opposite way, he set up again, threw it out again. He hit another patrol car. So that's 2.
Yeah.
So as we were going, Shane and I, we went from number 2 to number 1. So now we're number 1.
Yeah.
We're talking game plan. All right, this guy's armed. He's been armed. We know he's armed. He's been on video. We get ready just to, in case he foot bails, he jumps out of the car and runs. So as we're talking game plan, what we're going to do, what's his duty, what's my duties. Keep in mind, we're going 120 miles an hour on the highway. Shane barely could see over the dash.
Yeah.
He's driving next to the cement median, which goes above the car.
Yeah.
And next to semi rigs. So we're in the we're next to the cement pillar deal, and with the big rig. And as we're in there, there's debris flying. He looks over at me, and he sees me do the sign of the cross. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Hey, I made peace."
Yeah.
I go, "If it happens, it happens." He's like, "We're not going to die." I said,
Yeah.
"But if we do, we do." So, and there's me sitting there with my rifle, like thinking, I could die and I'm okay with it. So as we're going, we come out of that deal. He starts making some distance from us again. He's driving a little sports car. Another patrol car throws out spike strips again, and we see it. And just as we're coming around, it hits the front right wheel, blows out our tire.
Your car.
Yes, we were number 1 in the pursuit that time. So we jump back out. And then we had to pull over and change the tire. No joke, we probably changed that tire in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Shane had one of those nice high speed
hydraulic, yeah.
hydraulic. They'll put it up, change the bolts, threw it in there, put it back down, threw it in the back seat, and took off.
Has anyone hit the suspect with the stop sticks yet? No.
Keep in mind, this suspect is still going. He's going 130, 140.
Someone's on the payroll.
Yeah, I think somebody collected that. That was their payment. So eventually, the suspect, we catch back up. We're number 2 back in the stack. Suspect comes down the mountain as he's going to get into town. He tries to go into a dirt road or something, but hits an orchard, hits through the barbed wire, gets stuck. He foot bails. And then it's like the foot chase is on, but as soon as he hits the orchard, it's so dense. We spent 4 hours looking for him, but we spent probably the whole time looking for him. He went up to a tree, and then we didn't find him until they brought the flare out and saw his body heat hanging in from the side of the tree. Yeah,
From up
so we ended up
above
getting him
or from down below?
So the helicopter saw him
On the FLIR.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they saw the heat signature, and then we saw what tree he was on. Came back with our canines and got him out there.
Yeah.
But that was one for the books. I knew it from that day. I was like, this is like a movie. Like, it all happened within just probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it seemed like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I seriously thought I was going to die.
Yeah. Orchards are actually really, probably shouldn't say, those are good places to hide.
Yes,
people get away in the orchards all the time.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, they get in.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that the FLIR picked them up because I've seen it many times where they get under that canopy of the tree that leaves, depending on the season, I guess.
Yeah.
If there's not very many leaves, then they'd be able to see them. But if the trees are in bloom and they're under the canopy, the FLIR can't pick them up, and then they just disappear.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You were talking last time about the peppermint mocha story. Officer P.
Yes.
I was in a pursuit with him, kind of similar, and I won't say how fast we were going, but we were on a country road chasing he was a carjacking suspect, and he had a gun, and he was driving a Mercedes, like a newer model Mercedes, and it was way faster than our patrol car. But he didn't know how to work the gauges of the controls in the car, and he had blacked out, but he had left the hazards on. And so we were chasing him on this back country road, and like every time we would come over the crest of this hill, we like around a bend or over a hill, we could see way off in the distance flashing hazards as he's going around another bend.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of stayed with it. And anyways, yeah, Officer P's. I was in the back seat because we had a car without a cage that night, and another friend of ours, Matt, was in the front passenger seat, and Matt's yelling at Officer P, "Hey, give me the radio." And he's like holding the radio, driving the car, and the speedometer is bouncing at a speed that I won't say in public, and just bouncing. And he's leaned over the steering wheel, and he's like squinting really hard, and he's shoving his glasses up his nose. And I was like, oh man, we're dead. I'm fucking done.
Oh.
But no, it worked out. And then he drove through like, they used to do the street racing out there.
No.
You know what I mean? Like way out.
Yes.
They drive way out. And now they just do it in town. But they used to have the decency to go way out on the outskirts and do it out there. And we drove into the middle of a street race. And it was like the Fast and the Furious, all these little rice burners with spoilers on them. And they all thought that we were chasing them.
Oh.
So like we pull into this and they all start just driving in every different direction. It's total chaos.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, tell us about the left the jail with no gun.
Oh.
I've done this. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of us do this. Yeah. A lot of us do this, but this time somebody left me on purpose. So, in the gang units with Officer Eddie. So, Officer Eddie and I were partners for that night, and we made an arrest. So, back in the day, when we booked the suspect into the jail, we would have to go down into a basement. One of us goes in, take our gun off. If we were by ourselves, we put it in the lockbox or lock it in a lockbox in our trunk. But if we have a partner, we just take it off and put it on our seat or on the floorboard. And he starts to report, and you go in, and this time it was my turn to book. So I go inside. I start booking. I'm going through the process, gets cleared to the nurse. He chirps me on our phone. And he's just like, "Hey, there's a pursuit about to go out. Hey, you need to hurry up." I said, "We're not done. I got to clear this guy first and then get out there. It's another 10 minutes. He goes, "No, you don't have time. Let's go." And I was like, "No." I go, "You can't leave. You have my gun." So I kept telling him, like, "You can't leave me here because I have no gun." He's just like, "Okay, you got 2 minutes." I said, "It's not going to happen. I'm not making it out there." And then I do get out there within like 3 minutes because the deputy goes, you know what? I'll just take care of it from here. Go, go, go. So as soon as I come out, I see him just the rear end of the car, and he's just peeling up the ramp, and he's gone. So I could hear him going. He's putting it out. I might handle. I could hear him. He's put himself en route to the pursuit. They're getting on the highway. By this time, I'm trying to call him. He's in the pursuit. He's not going to answer. So he jumps on the highway. He's going, and I think it ended up being probably 40 minutes outside of town. Oh, so by this time, I'm standing there. There's nobody coming. This is probably 1 o'clock in the morning. I was trying to call people, but everybody in the gang at that time was on the pursuit. So I'm stuck there with no gun. I can't leave. I can't walk back to the station in uniform with no gun.
Yeah.
The deputies are just laughing at me. They're like, "I'm sorry, I can't leave. You know, this is my shift. I can't leave." So I waited probably until almost 3 a.m. until I would say around 2 o'clock in the morning. Another officers finally came and they booked their suspect, and then I had to get in the dirty back of the patrol cage and And the thing was too, I had to wait once I got to the station, I went down in our office and I just sat there for hours until they got back. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, they eventually caught back up to the suspect, but he ended it there. So on his own. So
you missed it by like 20 seconds.
Oh, I did. I could see his brake lights driving up, peeling up the ramp.
You tried calling him and he just didn't answer?
Oh, he was in the pursuit. So he just threw his phone down and he was in it. So.
He don't hear too well anyway.
No, he cannot hear. We all know this. Yeah.
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about we had Sergeant Airborne, or also known as Mongo.
Yes.
Another fan favorite.
Yeah.
He was a supervisor of yours for a little while. Mm-hmm. You talking about him grabbing your vest?
So he's been my supervisor several times. He's a good buddy of mine still. We've had some good experiences working together. On this one, he was my supervisor in the narcotics unit. We worked with, at that time, as a task force officer with the DEA. On this one, I had an informant who we had who ordered some narcotics from near the border of Mexico. Mm-hmm. So it was this whole thing. I'm pretty excited. It was my case. It was one of my first ones. We ordered up 40 pounds of meth. So a lot of times you do this. Sometimes they flake. They get hinked up, and it's not going to happen. Well, the ball started rolling, and it was going to happen. Like, all right, my guys moving. They're telling me. So the way it went down was the informant is in the mix with these guys, meaning he's an informant. He's been putting in orders, whatever. And the thing is, people from Mexico, they will send the narcotics, and they'll send a mule. So this person's going to drive from the border in his vehicle, and as he's coming through, they're going to let us know, hey, they're in LA. They're not tell us what they're driving or anything, but we have a meet point for them. So we told them a location where to meet. The guys, we get word from the informant that, and keep in mind, I'm on a 3-way with the informant, and he's talking to the mules. Mm. So I could hear them as they're speaking. So they're just saying, hey, I think there's cops out here on the highway, and he's telling them, no, you know, there's no cops out here or whatever. You know, I'm going to meet here, but if you're hinked up, we could move it somewhere else. And at this point, the guys, they told the informant that they weren't in town yet, but they were. Mm-hmm. So as I get out of the car with me and Sergeant Airborne, he's like, and Sergeant Airborne, he gets a little antsy sometimes. He's like, is this going to happen yet? Is this going to happen? I go, it's going to happen. It's just, I don't think they're telling the truth yet. Mm-hmm. So I step out of the car because he's yelling in my ear, and then I'm trying to listen on the phone with the informant and the mules. And so I was like, it's too much. I'm stepping out. So I go out to the roadway, or just stand there. There's really nothing. There was a frontage road next to a semi lot. So I come out, and I'm talking on the phone, and they said, all right, we're coming into town. They're like, what are you driving? Driving a blue Nissan. And as I'm looking up, I'm looking, a blue Nissan rolls right by me. Yeah. And they look dead in my eyes. Yeah. And they say, I hear them, oh, I see you. And their guy's like, no, I'm not there. He goes, yeah, I see you. Yeah. And I could hear this. Yeah. So then I just said, I'm just going to make contact, and I'm just going to get it.
You're going to be the
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right now. We're undercover. We're in an undercover vehicle. I do have a gun on me, but no vest, no nothing. I'm just on the phone. But I was just going to wing it and just do it. Yeah. Not safe. Not safe at all.
Not smart.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. So me being one of my first ones in there, and I was just getting a little ahead of myself. Sergeant Airborne just says, get the heck in here? And he grabbed my vest and he just kind of just sits me down. I'm like, oh yeah, snapped out of it. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I go, so okay.
Were you wearing a raid vest at the time?
No, we had them in the back.
Oh, okay.
We had both of our raid vests for the takedown.
Yeah.
So it was just, I just got out just to use the phone. These guys went right by me. So I snapped out of it. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. And then all of a sudden, the guys say, you're not here, whatever the case is. We're getting back on the freeway. So they jump back on the freeway, and then our undercover start following them. And at this point, he gets off. He goes, I see an undercover officers, and he gets off the phone. So they get off on the next street. They footbail. There's two of them. They footbail out of the car.
Wait, how do they know there was a? How do they know?
That he just believed it was a undercover officer because of the black tinted windows, and
It was actually your car?
It wasn't my car. It was other detectives' vehicles. They're following too close.
They got made.
Yeah, it got made for sure because they seen the same truck following them in as they're coming out. So they got made.
Yeah.
And they did. So as they bailed from the car, everybody started chasing everybody. We ended up getting, at least I think we got the driver. In the trunk there was 40 pounds of crystal meth. There was 2 bags sitting right there. So it was a good end result, but yeah, I try to wing it from the get go. Yeah. That's just something you don't do.
Yeah.
But I learned my lesson on that one. Is like, even though you want to get to the good end results, you can't, don't cut corners on that one.
Yeah, probably don't want to fuck around with the cartel dudes.
No, not at all.
No best player, so,
Not at all.
Yeah, probably not.
Not good strategy.
Yeah.
I've been made before too.
Yeah.
On a wire. A guy that I won't say what he was wanted for, but we were surveilling him. We were getting ready to take him down, and he was on the phone walking around in front of his apartment, and they were listening. Our guys were listening to the call as it's happening, and I was on point, and I parked across the street from the apartment complex in this mostly empty parking lot, and I was like halfway across the parking lot. I was a significant distance from him. I could see him, and he's mad. He's yelling and talking on the phone. He's walking these big circles, and he's like walking around, and his circles start getting bigger and bigger, and then he's like getting closer and he would go back, and then we get like the next step, and I'm like thinking to myself, should I pull off? And I'm like, no, I think I'm all right. And I had put my belt on because we were gonna take him down, so I had my vest ready to go, and he's getting closer, and so I started like lean the seat back, and like as he's going around, he starts getting closer and closer, and he gets to where he's like 10 feet in front of my car, and he's yelling at whoever's talking to him on the phone, and he like stops and he looks like straight at me and like locks in on me, and I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? Like, and I'm just like laying there like, don't move. And he comes walking up to my truck, and he peeks over and looks down, and he sees my belt.
No.
He's like, cops are out here right now. And then they get on the radio, they're like, yeah, apparently somebody just got made. I'm like, yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that's crazy. I wonder who it was.
Oh,
It's
man.
messing up for everyone.
Wild.
Oh dang.
Yeah. Talk to us about helicopter ride
Oh, Sergeant.
as a police officer.
Yeah, Sergeant Airborne and I. So as task force officers, you have to go to a little DEA academy when you become a task force officer for them. You go through the clearance, all that, the whole ordeal. So you go to Virginia, you go to Quantico, and during this time, he's telling me, hey, Sergeant Airborne does know a lot of people. He networks. He's a funny guy. So he has a lot of friends. He networks a lot.
Wait, he was your recruit training officer.
That he was, yes.
He called you profile.
He was my, yes. He was my,
Wait, let's time out. Sorry, time out. We got to hear about profile.
Oh, that's a whole
with
nother
the crutches.
Thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So if we want to go background for Sergeant Airborne, it's got to start where he was my background investigator. So he was part of my career for the last,
over 20 years.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna do this, so he comes in. I was working in corrections. I'm the lieutenant. It's on a Saturday. So on a Saturday in a corrections, if you're a lieutenant there, well, this is for a certain type of prison, and during that time, so I'm the highest ranking person there on a Saturday. The chief's not going to be there. The assistant wardens or wardens, no one's going to be there. So he gets there. The control booth is like, hey, there's this dude out there with a gun saying he's your investigator and he wants in. And he's not asking, he's ordering them. And this is Sergeant Airborne.
Yeah.
So I said, oh shit, that's my background investigator. So I go, hey, sir, you need to put up your gun. He goes, what the fuck? Put my gun up? What? I'm a fucking cop. I was like, so he goes back, puts it in his car. He comes through the gate. And then he goes, hey, troop, I'm going to need to talk to your boss. And I was like, I am the boss. He goes, psh, you need to get somebody here now. I didn't drive my happy ass out here just for nothing.
Yeah.
So, and by this time, I didn't know he went to my house and all that stuff for it.
Yeah.
So eventually I did have to call in the chief of security. He comes in, the chief talks to him, and he goes, you know, this guy's putting salt in the game and he's telling you this and that, but he goes, at least I know you're not a pussy and you could handle yourself. And this, I was like, man, this guy is wild.
Yeah.
I go, this is something else. And at this time he has me, and this is, keep in mind, I'm the lieutenant in this prison. I'm the supervisor, highest ranking person there. I'm the boss, and he had me locked up like I was a private in the first month of like basic training. I was at attention, and I was at parade rest, and he goes, "Give me an office." So we went. I just commandeered somebody's office. We were in there, and he's like, "You need to revert back to when you were infantry, and this is how what's going to help you get through the academy." And I said, "Oh yes, sir." He goes, "All right, carry on now. Open the gate." And this is what he tells the bubble or the control booth. He's just like, they're like, I go, "Open the gate for him." So, and this is his mentality. Like he's running it now. No, I'm the boss here.
Yeah.
So
This is my prison.
That's Sergeant Airborne right there. And he never changed from all those years I've known him.
Well, what happened? So you blew out your knee.
So I, in the first week or two, I tear my ACL and my MCL. So then I was on crutches. So they kept me there they didn't know what they were going to do with me. So they kept me there for the first 8 weeks. So I took all the LD exams. Did everything except for all the physical stuff. So and keep in mind, he's gone for the first week because he was a National Guard. And so he got deployed. So when he came back, there was another RTO there, recruit training officer, and he sees me on crutches. And he comes up to me and he goes, "Nice first fucking impression, Airborne." And he grabs my crutches, and also our academy at that point was at a community college.
Yeah.
So he grabs my crutches and he throws them across campus.
So
and
you're standing there with a torn ACL, MCL.
So this is where it kind of gets a little gray area. I'm thinking it was maybe possibly sprained. But after what he just did to me, what I'm about to go through, I think it was destroyed my knee then. So
you might have recovered if it had been for this?
Yes. Yeah. So he just made me do 6 months over in my whole career. Yeah. So my crutches go that way. His finger goes that way. And he says, "Start running at profile." And then so I just start running. But the thing is, my knees keep buckling. There's nothing connecting them. So I keep falling. I'm getting up. He's calling me names. He's walking next to me as I'm doing this. He's mountain climber, side shuttle hops. I'm in pain. I'm turning white at this time. And then so guys are helping me. They're like, "Let him go." And so I run to the parking lot and I run back, and he goes, and then the other RTO that's been there, he whispers something. He goes, like, he goes, "He's actually hurt. Like he probably tore something." He goes, "We don't know yet," whichever. And then later on that day, I had my doctor's appointment, come back, and they said it's shredded. And he goes, "I guess you are fucked up." And then that was the end of that. And he goes, "Get in the classroom profile." So I did a lot of in cadence cherry pickers. Yeah. And then a lot of finger flutter kicks as well.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, sorry. So I interrupted. You guys are in Quantico now.
Yes.
Fast forward like 15 years later.
So him and I are going to Virginia. We get there. He's promising this Black Hawk ride. So we're going to do the map of the earth and this and that. And the thing is, I went to New York with a DEA agent for another case probably months before. And also this agent's like, "Hey, I got a buddy here, Port Authority. We're going to do this helicopter ride around the Statue of Liberty. It's going to be spectacular. We're going to be awesome." Well, it never happened because of rain. So when he told me this, I was like, yeah, whatever. I heard this one before. It's never going to happen. So, and he's like, "Dude, I'm telling you, we're going on a Black Hawk ride and you're not even like happy. Like I'm trying to hook you up and you're just like, whatever." I go, "I've already had my heart broken once. So I guess I'm not going to go through that again. Yeah. I'm not going to get excited." And he goes, "Ever let you down?" And I was like, "Oh, well."
Well, there was that time with the crutches.
That disability I have now. Yeah. So you almost retired me. And then, so he just says, "It's going to happen." And I'm just like, whatever. So we go 2 days into this and I'm like, "No helicopter ride, whatever." And then he goes, "Today's the day." So he goes, "Come on." And I said, "All right, whatever." So I'm kind of like that kid in the back, just kind of like not really wanting to go, but he's like, "Come on." Yeah. So
refusing to put your shoes on with the back door. Get in the car.
Jesus Christ.
So mad. Still eating my bowl of cereal. Didn't want to let go. I'm like, whatever. He keeps telling me this. He went during lunchtime. And so we're walking. We get in this van we had, rental, whatever. We drive off from the DEA location to the FBI location. We're walking. I still don't see helicopter or nothing. Like I hear it, but then all of a sudden I go to this hangar and I'm like, I smell the jet fuel and I can start hearing whoop, 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 whoop. And my eyes went like just, and he goes, he looks back, he goes, now, are you excited? I go, yes. I go, yes. This
Have
is
a
so-
good
this
day.
This is so much. I'm going to have it such a good day.
Fortunate Son started playing in the background.
I can just hear the truck. It was everything. It was awesome. And that was such a great time. I sat right in the door. And we just did the map of the earth. And the funny thing was, we went right over the classroom or the DEA section of the camp, and you could see all the like task force officers standing out there, and we went right over them. So we did that for a while. We come back, and then the funny thing is, we come back and they're like, we were late, so we came in late. Next break, they're like, where in the fuck were you guys? They're like, did you guys see that Black Hawk? They're like, yeah, that was us. They're like, you motherfuckers, and they were so like. They were so upset that we didn't invite them or anything. These guys are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And then so every day since after the next lunch break, they're like, we get back and they're like, where do you motherfuckers? Would you guys go on a pony ride this time? Would you guys go on a Ferris wheel? What was it? Hot air balloon? Yeah.
We had some wine and some fine cheeses while we were up there.
So that was
nice charcuterie board we enjoyed.
So they were hating for sure, but it was funny because each day they had something. Where did we go this time?
Yeah, nice.
That was a good time.
Nice. I can only imagine this. So he had a cigarette from the lip.
Oh,
So our Sergeant Airborne was a heavy smoker.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what this is about.
Yeah, so we had this big takedown, some remote parking lot off the freeway. It was like fentanyl pills or whichever. So with the takedown, we had a SWAT element portion of it because they're supposed to be armed. And we had all the UCs out there, and we had some black and whites. We had a lot of personnel out there because this guy's supposed to be armed, and we're going to take every precaution to be safe. So as we're waiting there all day long, Sergeant Airborne is very impatient. And he doesn't wear his vest all the time. He wears these, his medium grunt style T-shirts.
Come on now.
Yeah, so that nothing wrong with that. So I wear them too. So as we're coming up, we already discussed the plan and how they're going to approach. We had Plan A, Plan C, Plan B, and C. So as they come in, whichever, the SWAT guys are rolling in their unmarked van. Well, I guess they weren't rolling in fast enough for Sergeant Airborne.
Yeah.
So he was not supposed to even be in the takedown. He comes up in his unmarked undercover vehicle. He rolls in like a bat out of hell right to the front, pretty much blocks the SWAT van. He jumps out in his grunt style T-shirt and his cigarette just still hanging from his lip, and goes in with his pistol and just like takes these guys down, like puts his gun in his face, and then eventually the other guys just start grabbing on him. They take him into custody.
Yeah.
But for me, I was on the perimeter, undercover, just seeing him calling the vehicle coming off the highway. So as I'm rolling up, I could just see him in the middle of all this just chaos with a cigarette hanging from his lip, grunt style T-shirt, and he's just like airborne tattooed. He's just like, yeah, and he just smiles like, I got him. Yeah, and he's done that more than once.
Yeah. Anyway, talk to us about the commandeering a rancher's truck.
Oh yeah, this one I could still see just clear as day. So once again, Narcotics unit, we're on the opposite outskirts of town at some truck stop. We had set up a SWAT, once again, a SWAT element operators in the orchard. They're supposed to come in, we're going to do the takedown, and that'd be it. We're supposed to purchase 10 pounds of meth. So we set everybody up. We set some UCs in the parking lot. We see them coming in, the targets. They're already talking to our informant, saying, "Hey, we're coming through. We're driving into black." There's two of them. So you had the actual guy that was going to meet up with our informant, and then you had their runner who was going to come and bring the dope. So once the suspect saw the money, then he called in his runner to bring the dope. That's being cautious. So after he sees the money, he calls in his runner. We see the runner coming in. The runner, as we try to do the takedown, we called in the SWAT guys, but they're coming from the orchard on the opposite side, wrong side. So you see the dust coming in. So it's like a cavalry coming in of all these. So maybe there's some undercover cars, but there's some black and white. So as soon as that happened, the runner takes off. we jump on the one suspect, take him into custody, but the runner never gets out of his car, so he takes off. But before he takes off, he crashes into one of our UC detectives.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'll call him Carlitos. So Carlitos gets hit. Carlitos, it maybe
Yeah, he got boogered up a little bit too. On
yeah,
that.
he says it's a setup because I said go park by that X on the parking lot, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And then, but and every time I hear the story from him, he's so dramatic. Cause last time, like the door opens, he's unconscious, gun falls out, and it's the whole thing. He had to get mouth to mouth, whichever. But
yeah, because he had just come out of ECAT too.
Yeah,
so
he
he
did.
got over doing violent criminal apprehension to work in narcotics, and
Yes.
then like it was like real early on in him.
Yeah, oh, it was
going to
very- yeah, I think he
narcotics.
went
And
from-
he gets plowed into by this runner and gets all
Yeah.
jacked up in the car.
oh yeah, so it's just the whole way it went down. It was kind of. It just happened so fast. So the vehicle leaves and it's going on, jumps on the highway. We go once again in pursuit. We're in a undercover car. So there's three of us in there, me, a couple agents. I think there was a deputy in there. We go in pursuit northbound. Eventually the car gets off and goes into the orchard. This is summertime. So it's hot. It's so hot. It's dusty. We're in the fields. As soon as the car goes into the orchard, it gets stuck. We catch up to the car. You see just his t-shirt just getting a little farther. So me and the agent, we jump out. We're running through. We got our rifles on. We throw our vests on. We're running. We're falling because it's thick grape. It's the grape fields.
Yeah.
So the sand's just plowed. We're falling down. We're dirty, sweaty. Now I'm about to throw up. And I look up and like we were just looking. And I look up and here comes this white rancher's truck. And he's hauling ass towards us, and I was like, "Oh, this rancher's pissed." And I look up, and it's Sergeant Airborne sitting there with his tack vest and his rifle.
Cigarette
and he's just
dangling
sitting
in his
there. I
mouth.
can barely see him though. I can barely see him because he's not the tallest of guys, so I can barely see him. But as he goes by, is his biggest smile on his face, and he has his rifle, and he's just waving.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, "Go that way." And he's it's funny because only him would think of, "I'm gonna commandeer this rancher's truck."
Yeah.
And the rancher, you just saw his face, like it was this paisano Mexican guy. He would just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And I'm driving this guy with a gun. I don't even know if he's a real cop or what. Like he has jeans on, grunt style t-shirt, maybe a vest. I don't know because he didn't wear them.
Yeah.
But and his
Cigarette
rifle.
butt hanging out of his mouth. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he had a cigarette hanging from that. Yes.
Nice.
So and then we ended up taking him into custody. I think we had a canine as well. So
Yeah. Found that guy.
Yeah.
Nice. And what about the 50 toilets?
Oh, so this is when I was in homicide unit. You're paired up on a three-person team. So this time it was Detective Randy. Him and I got tasked. It was just, I don't even think it wasn't our primary investigation. We were assisting another detective. And it was a heinous homicide. There's some information where he was out in the desert, the body, the victim.
Yeah.
So we leave at dark 30 in the morning from Cal, and then we head over to the desert by Laughlin, 30 minutes out of Laughlin, let's say. So we spend 2 days and one long night there in the desert. During this time, we're not washing. We're in the middle of the desert. We find the body, but we have to sit there and wait for. Then there was a crime lab had to come up, and then they were there, and then we had to wait for the actual handling detective. Things started rolling from there. We had to do a search warrant afterwards. So keep in mind, we're dirty, we're hot, we're hungry. We haven't used the restroom. It was a nightmare. So eventually some people showed up so we could get a break, so we could go down 30 minutes to Laughlin and like at least go to the casino, wash up and get something to eat because we haven't eaten either. So when we get there, I think it was like a Sunday night. I don't remember what kind of day it was, but it must have been not a weekend or whichever because it was dead. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
And you go in, and it's pretty nice at this casino in Laughlin. And so we go into this bathroom, and it was probably 50 rows of toilets on each side. And you could tell there's no sound. There's no one in there.
Yeah.
So instead of, I go like a normal human being, not an animal, and I go and I wash my hands and wash my face real quick before I go use the restroom. Well, Detective Randy doesn't. He just goes and, he's not the biggest of guys, so he kind of just, I lose him in this 100 toilets or whichever. So he picks one. Yeah. And then I just go and I sit, and I get in one of the stalls or whatever. And I just sit down, and all I see is his feet dangling. He goes, "Really, bro? Really? You got 100 toilets here. You're just gonna sit next to me. This is it. This is where we're gonna go."
Yeah.
And that just reminded me of this meme where that some kid was underneath there just coming in and it's like, hey, bro, no, you gotta stay back. But I think he would send that to me over and over again. But it's still, every time they send it to me, it's hilarious every time. Yeah. It wasn't on purpose. It just happened that way.
You just walk next to him like, what you doing?
Exactly. He's like, really, bro? You can sit right next to me. I've been spending 2 days with you in the desert and you sit next to me on the toilet.
I was getting lonely.
So yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah. All right, well, Alex, thanks for coming out and talking to us again. Thank you everyone for listening, and stay frosty.